Hey guys, welcome back to today's video. So today we're going to be looking at Joe Biden, of course, the vice president under President Barack Obama, versus against the incumbent president Donald Trump. And this is the 2020 election for obvious reasons. And pretty much we're going to be going through a number of safe states at this point in time because, again, there are, of course, safe states for the presidential elections, as there are always. So pretty much all the normal states that pretty much are going to go for the president. Also, if you look at a number of these states, yes, they could get a little bit closer, but at the end of the day are expected to go to the president by the end of the evening on, I guess, November 3rd. I believe that is the date, 2020. We can go over to some Biden states, I guess. New Mexico and Virginia I'm going to characterize as safe states. I didn't in my Sanders video right away because I wanted to discuss them, but pretty much we already know that both of these states are pretty Democratic states on their own. You could possibly move over Colorado and a couple of other states, but still, if you made the same argument for Colorado, you could also move over a couple of other states. Texas and Alaska are still, of course, Trump states. Pretty much up in the Northeast, that first district is always expected to go to the Democrat, usually, regardless of who it is. And that puts Donald Trump at 164 electoral votes and Biden at 201. So, Donald Trump is disapproved nationwide more than he was on August 2nd, 2018. And pretty much a number of these states also have moved away from the president. For example, Wisconsin, a state that he won by 22,000 votes. Again, a lot of people like to say, oh, Trump is going to expand his voting base. Well, truly, if they did approve of what he was doing there, it would show in the numbers. Not just in the Morning Consult poll, but in the ABC News poll, the Rasmussen poll, the Fox News poll, the CNN News poll, the MSNBC poll, any other poll that shows Trump approved of in Wisconsin that isn't taken in partisan factor. And you can actually show that Trump has a base here, that he's retaining the base, possibly even gaining on the base. But for right now, his approval rating there is negative 15%. Neighboring state of Michigan, maybe it's a little bit different. Again, negative 11%. Pennsylvania, people love to use the state, the shining star for Trump. Right now, people like to bring articles from, I guess, other websites that pretty much aren't reputable sources, but like to say that Trump is highly approved of in Pennsylvania. Negative 7%. And keep in mind, the Morning Consult is typically more lenient towards GOP members of both the Senate, the governorships, and Donald Trump in general. So these numbers possibly could be even skewed a little bit more, like shown in the NBC News poll, but that's not the topic of today's video. Those three Rust Belt states, along with the state of Minnesota, which also disapproves of the president by 14%, are not a good show for the president. But we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to characterize all of these states for Joe Biden at this point in time. And that puts him at 257 electoral votes. Now, I've never done that before, where I've characterized those Rust Belt states before the rest of the swing states, but I feel like it needed to be said, and also, if you did skip to the end, you're already missing it anyway. So, pretty much those four Rust Belt states, in fact, are expected to go to Joe Biden at the end of the evening, especially Pennsylvania, which is his birth home state. A lot of people say, oh, they don't care about that. They care about jobs and the economy. Well, if they truly did, then tell me why the number is negative 7%. And don't say liberal polling, because it's every single poll. Again, if you trust people like Rasmussen that show the president at a 48%, 49% approval rating, and actually it's dipped down lately, then you also have to admit the Democrats are leading 7% nationwide, because that's the same poll taken to the same people that also showed the generic ballot. So those numbers, very interesting, but you can't just take one because it fits your agenda and then disregard the others. So 257 electoral votes for Joe Biden. Where can he win? Because he's very close to 270, while Donald Trump is at 164. Well, to be completely honest with you, Biden is not likely to win Georgia, North Carolina, or Arizona. These are three Republican states that were Republican states in 2016, retained in the Republican column in 2012, two of these three states in 2008, Republican states in 2004, and also the year 2000. One of them went for Clinton in 1996, another one went for Clinton in 1992, and then also these states are pretty Republican in terms of identity. North Carolina did not go for Clinton, Georgia did not go for Clinton, and neither did Arizona. So recent history also shows that these states are pretty much Republican states. The only state with a Democratic elected official statewide is the state of North Carolina with a current Democratic governor. But other than that, two senators from North Carolina, Republicans, a Republicans majority in the House from North Carolina. Georgia, Republicans majority in the House, two Republican senators, and a Republican governor. Same case in the state of Arizona, but also Arizona showing a little bit more tendencies leaning to the Democrats, but still not expected to flip in the 2020 presidential election. As for New Hampshire, I expect that state to narrowly go to Joe Biden. At the end of the day, I don't expect Trump to gain any voters there, especially since it currently negatively approves of the president by 14%. Up in the state of Maine, right now, Second district, I will award to the president, but in Maine at large, I'm going to say will go to Joe Biden as it did for Hillary Clinton. That puts Trump at 207 electoral votes, but Ohio and Iowa, I'm going to move over into its column. And I gave those two states to Bernie Sanders, but I'm not going to see the same type of appeal from Biden in those two states. Even though Obama was able to do it, Joe Biden may not be number one Obama, and also these states possibly went against Hillary Clinton because they were tired of the Democratic Party and the Obama-type Democratic Party. Whether or not, I mean, they did approve of the president on the president referring to President Obama on the 2016 election day. So I guess you can't really say it was just that. It likely was because Hillary Clinton was a uniquely unlikable candidate, plagued with many scandals built up over a course of 25 years. So I guess those three Rust Belt states pretty much have all been flipped back to the Democratic column, but Ohio and Iowa have not. But here's a big one. Nevada goes to Joe Biden along with Colorado. So Joe Biden has officially been announced the next president of the United States with 278 electoral votes. Donald Trump has 231 electoral votes. But right now, the pretty much sole swing state at this point in time is the state of Florida. Florida is one that I'm going to be very contested about because it currently approves of the president by 4%. But also, Democrats definitely can make inroads here, especially with a new wave of Democratic candidates coming in to the 2020 presidential election. There could be at most 34 presidential candidates based off the top ranked list for the 2020 presidential election on the Democratic side. Florida is going to be a huge swing state. Even though it approves of the president by 4%, doesn't mean it's going to be a safe or even leaning Republican state. Florida can still go whichever way it wants to go. Florida is one of those states that pretty much sometimes isn't accurate in polling. I mean, it wasn't in 2016 actually, but it was in 2012 when it showed Mitt Romney lead by around 4%, and then Obama won it by less than a percentage point, so a huge swing there. Right now, if we look at Florida, we're going to see after 2018 the true effect of the Democratic Party there in the state of Florida and the true effect of the GOP in the state of Florida. But at this point in time, Florida can go either way. So this is probably one of my first predictions where I'm not able to make a characterization in the state of Florida, and people are going to say, oh, you're just scared to call it. Well, number one, the election hasn't happened yet, so you don't know how the state is going to go. And number two, Florida, again, like all other bellwether states, I've pretty much called 49, including the district, of the 50 states from the state, except the state of Florida. So Florida, I mean, could go to the GOP, but it could also go to the Democrats. So it all depends on a couple of factors. But right now, I could say advantage GOP very narrowly, but I'm not comfortable putting it in either political party's column. So thank you guys for watching this video. We finished off our map with 278 electoral votes for Vice President Biden, 231 for President Trump. Thank you guys again, and I will see you all tomorrow.